We are now live, as it says in the notification here on IG. Facebook, it says we are now live as well. I'm gonna pin my comment on IG, and hopefully some people are ready to listen to this. Hopefully some people are available. I don't know. Saturday night is the first or the second maybe full weekend since we kind of start opening back up in the world. So we'll see if anybody comes in. So as y'all check in, everybody can check in the comments section on either platform, Facebook or IG. Let me know that you're in the house, and we're gonna get started in a moment. The topic here today, y'all can see it right there. Yes, class is in session. Mozart Gates, you got it right. So we're gonna get started in about 30 seconds. I'm gonna let everybody get organized, find yourself a comfortable seat, get ready for what we're about to get into, because we got a lot that we're gonna talk about. And I'll explain why we're talking about this, why I came about this topic, and what exactly it means. I'll get to explaining all that in a minute. So as y'all come in, again, y'all can check it in the comment section. We're gonna get to it. Coffee the Great was good. We got UC Santa Barbara. You're at your brother's graduation. All right, shout out to everybody who's checking in from a graduation. This is Dre All Day, checking in live from Work On Your Game University. The beautiful Work On Your Game University campus in beautiful South Florida, Miami, Florida to be exact. It is nice. It's a nice 80-something humidity right now. I'm not even talking about the temperature. Temperature is always going to be 80-something in Miami. From this time of year, we got about 6 straight months of 80-something temperatures, in case you were wondering. But the humidity, that's the part that gets you. But anyway, all right, we're going to get started. I'm going to introduce myself. We're going to get right into this material, and whoever comes in, comes in. I didn't announce what time I was going live today. I just said we was pushing it back. So anyway, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 26 books. I'm working on book 27. I should be done. I'll probably be done with it by this time next week. Isaiah from Houston was good. I've done 4 TED Talks. I published over 15,000 pieces of content online. 7,000 of those are in the form of video. Y'all can find them on YouTube. 7,000 articles. Y'all can find them on dreallday.com. And 1,500 plus podcast episodes. Y'all can find them on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and all the rest. They also on my website. And several of them you can find it on YouTube as well, but not all of them. Most of them on the podcast app. But anyway, everything that I do is under the umbrella of this brand, this business, this company that I created. I'm the CEO of. It's called Work On Your Game. Work On Your Game is about taking the mentality necessary to succeed in sports and being the top 1% at the professional level. How you take that same mentality and apply it to your business, to your life, and to your sport if you happen to be an athlete. One of my books is called Work On Your Game, where I put that whole philosophy into one book. I will tell you about this later on. But today's topic, actually, before I even get to that, let me tell you who Work On Your Game is for. Because Work On Your Game is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's for a certain type of individuals, for people who could be in 3 specific positions in life. Number 1, the person who feels like you need to get better at your performance. You feel like your game is not at the level that it needs to be. You just need more skill. Number 2 is the type of person who feels like you have game, but you just need to get better at showing off your game and performing. And number 3 is the person who feels like you have game and you perform, but you're just not getting the recognition. You're not getting the ROI from your performance that you want. So if you need to get game, get better at performing, or you just need more recognition for what you do from the right audience of people, then Work On Your Games for you. All that being said, today's topic is, what do you do when freedom of speech is not exactly free? What do you do when you can't really say what you want to say? When you can't just come out and just have an opinion, voice an opinion, and everybody just accept it? Y'all know that this topic right here is an evergreen topic, but it's also timely for the moment that we're in now, because you all have seen in the news or online or wherever you get your information that right now, for anybody who's not black and down with the cause, like even black people who might not be down with the cause, if you say the wrong thing, you're getting eaten alive by the social media lynch mob. You've seen what happened to Drew Brees, the NFL quarterback, a week and a half ago, when he said he thought kneeling during the national anthem was disrespectful to the flag. That was his opinion, and he wasn't allowed to voice that opinion. He basically got bullied out of his opinion, and the social media lynch mob destroyed him. And he damn near he was hanging on by a thread to the last gasps of air he had in his life before he apologized. And he been on an apology tour ever since. He's gonna be apologizing for the rest of his life for saying that. And you've seen the CEOs, you've seen companies doing stuff. Starbucks put out something, then they had to backtrack on that. And so many people losing their jobs. There's a soccer player who got fired because his wife said something on social media, which is crazy. You got people getting their websites and campaigns taken down because they're supporting the wrong side of things. And so there's a lot of things that, even though in America our First Amendment rights give us freedom of speech, we can see right now is not that free right now. That freedom of speech is not as free as it sounds right now if you're not saying the right things about the right people. And I think everyone can agree to that. You can't say just anything that you want right now. People are getting canceled. And the thing is, we celebrate people for speaking out only when we agree with them. You know, people say, I've heard people on, especially ESPN. ESPN is a very woke network. It's very woke over there on ESPN, which is always funny to me because Jamel Hill came out. She was the first one to really do some woke stuff on ESPN. She came out and bashed Donald Trump. She called Donald Trump a white supremacist. She called him a racist on Twitter while she was working at ESPN. And she essentially, this wasn't the exact reason that she left, but she essentially lost her job at ESPN because she said what she said about Donald Trump. But here's the thing. A bunch of people on the far left who are very woke, the same way Jamel Hill is, they've been saying stuff now. ESPN is amplifying it. ESPN is like, yeah, they're on board with this. I'm like, well, why'd y'all let Jamel go if y'all thought this? And the thing is this. Here's another thing that happened. Dan Le Batard, right here in Miami, he said some stuff. I can't even remember exactly what he was saying, but he was saying something political, something anti-Trump, something pro-left, and he missed, he either got suspended or he took a leave of absence or something like that. It was several days of work he missed because he and ESPN were kind of not seeing eye to eye because he had made some political type of comment. But then ESPN amplifies it when people are making these comments every single day. So I don't really understand where they stand. I don't think they even know where they stand. But the whole point that I'm making is people seem to be okay. What's going on, Angela, over there on Facebook? People seem to be okay with you speaking out as long as you're speaking out in accordance to what they believe. Now, I heard Jay Williams on ESPN say, hey, I think LeBron is better than Jordan, not because of what he did on the court, but because LeBron is willing to speak out, right? I've heard multiple people say that. Because LeBron speaks out, that puts him above Jordan because Jordan wouldn't speak out and Jordan was just about his business and about playing ball. Well, let me ask y'all a question. What if LeBron spoke out just as much as he does, right? But let's say he was a Trump supporter. What if LeBron was a Trump supporter and he was speaking out the same amount that he speaks out now? Will people be still saying that? Hey, LeBron's better than Jordan because he speaks out? I mean, he's still speaking out. See, he's speaking out and saying something that you don't agree with. Will people still be saying that? Of course not. We know that they wouldn't be saying that. People will be bashing LeBron. They would be canceling LeBron. He would have a whole lot more enemies than friends simply because he'd be saying the wrong thing. So when people say, I'm speaking out, and we applaud, and we see people get applauded for speaking out, oh, they spoke out, they said something, they took a stand, they were about something, and people say, oh, well, that's the reason why we respect them, because they took a stand, they stood for something. That is incorrect. Because if that person made the same stand and made the same statements and did the same amount of speaking out, but they didn't agree, whatever they said didn't agree with what you believe, you wouldn't be co-signing them. You wouldn't be cheering for them. So it's not that you speak out that makes people applaud you. It's that you speak out and you say something that people agree with. And that gets to the whole point of what I'm talking about here today, is how do you speak out? How do you say what you want to say when you aren't really free to say what you want to say? Because as you can see, there are companies, corporations, platforms who will censor what you said or attack you or try to cancel you if you say something that they don't agree with. I mean, we see this happening all the time. So I'm going to get into these points here. Anybody who has a question or comment, I will take them all at the end of this. Point number one, if you want to speak out, you have something that you want to say and you think it doesn't go along with the zeitgeist, with what everyone agrees to what everybody, quote unquote, everybody is saying, and you think some people may have a problem with what you say and you feel like you might get attacked or canceled or whatever's going to happen to you, if you were to express this opinion, the number one thing you must do when you say what you got to say is you must respect everybody's position. You got to respect everybody's opinion. Many of you may have heard Candace Owens, who is a black conservative who did a 17-minute video that she posted on Periscope, then on Twitter, talking about George Floyd and what she thought about George Floyd. And she was saying a lot of things that I can't even say people took, but I would say straight up was disrespectful of George Floyd's his legacy as a human being. I'm not saying that George Floyd is any type of person. I don't know anything about George Floyd until we saw that video. I had never heard of the man until we saw that video. But she said a lot of things. She was pulling up a lot of dirt out of his life and saying, well, he had this and this and this, and so he shouldn't be looked at as a hero and this and that. And I understood what she was saying because the things that she was saying were factually, she was pulling up actual facts. I get it. But at the same time, first of all, he's dead, so he's not here to defend himself. And second of all, pulling those things up is not going to get you anywhere positive. I don't think she thought it was going to get her anywhere positive with anyone on the other side of the conversation. So I guess she just felt like she just wanted to say it anyway. I don't think that was strategically. I get what kind of sort of what she was doing, but overall it wasn't that great of a strategy because she didn't do anything to bring those sides closer together. She didn't get herself anywhere closer to where the left side people are by making that rant. She didn't respect the position of the people on the other side. And this is what I'm telling you to do. That was the violation that she committed when she did that rant. There were some things she said in there that were not about George Floyd specifically, but some things that she said overall in her 17 minutes of talking that made sense. But because of the other things that she said that was very disrespectful of that man's life and probably to his family and his friends, that she wasn't respecting the other side's opinion. She was basically saying, no, I'm not agreeing with anything you guys say because this. And she's so articulate and so good with her words that it's hard to, she's the type of person that's really hard to debate with because she's too good verbally. She's too sharp. And this is why you don't see her on too many left-leaning shows or anything like that because they can't shout her down. She's a little bit too good. She's a little bit too sharp with the tongue. But anyway, the point is this. You got to respect other people's opinion. If someone has an opinion that differs from yours, even if you think they are ridiculous, even if you think they're dumb, even if you think they're wrong for having an opinion that differs from yours, you must respect the fact that they have their opinion. All right, even if you think, listen, there's some people out there who say, well, people shouldn't be protesting in the streets because black people kill black people more than white people kill black people. And that is factually correct. But if you were to come out and say that and just say it like that, is anybody on that side going to listen to you? Probably not. They're going to think that you're racist. They're going to try to cancel you. They're going to think you're being negative, and they're not going to hear anything that you say. If your goal is to be heard, if your goal is to get your point across, then you must respect the other person's opinion, even if you think they're dumb and stupid for having it. Now, if your goal is to just agitate and just say what you want to say and to hell with everybody else, and if people disagree, so what? And if you just make the divide even wider between every side of a situation, if that's your goal, then just say whatever you want to say and don't even consider the other side's opinion. But if you're trying to get consensus, if you're trying to get everyone on the same page, if you're trying to influence or persuade people, you must respect the fact that they have an opinion, even if you think they're an idiot for having it. And do not attack people for not agreeing with you. All right, that is a sign of immaturity. It's childish, and we need to move past that. And that's what's happening a lot these days. A lot of people get attacked for not having the same opinion as this group or that group, but it doesn't move anybody anywhere closer together. All it does is make the divide bigger. And that's not going to get us anywhere as a people. It's not going to get us anywhere that we as a group want to go. Point number 2. Topic here is how to speak out and say what you want to say, even when freedom of speech is not what it used to be. Second thing you got to do is expand your repertoire. In other words, you must develop and be able to use more tools for communication so you can effectively deal with other people, especially those with whom you disagree. Now, I just said a mouthful there. Let me say it one more time. Expanding your repertoire means having more effective communication tools so that you can communicate with other people, especially communicate with people with whom you disagree. The challenge that I see when I'm looking at social media or I hear people having conversations about certain topics and they're disagreeing, most of the time it's on social media, is someone has an opinion and they have something that they want to say and they don't even consider the other person's side or the merits of another person's argument, and they just try to bash and attack the other person's argument. As soon as you go in with somebody else and start doing that, they're automatically not listening to you. They have automatically written you off as a certain type of person, and now you have already started an argument they didn't even get a chance to speak yet when you do that. Expanding your repertoire means be able to validate the other person's point, the other person's objective, the other person's feelings, because this is all opinion-based stuff. So there's no such thing as being wrong when we're talking about opinions. Now, somebody can be wrong with a fact. You can't be wrong with an opinion. If somebody thinks that this person is better than this person, or this is right and this is wrong, that's their opinion, that's their perspective. Even if it's 1,000 people on this side and 2 people on this side, those 2 people are allowed to feel whatever the hell they want to feel. Now, if you try to attack them for feeling that way, there's no way you're going to get them on your side unless you're just bullying them into it. And as the saying goes, a person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. People will pretend to go along with you just so you can get off their back. But as soon as you're off their back, they're going to go and do what they want to do. So you didn't actually achieve anything. You might think you achieved something because you are maybe too immature to understand this, but I'm explaining it to you so you don't make this mistake. Expanding your repertoire. Having enough tools that you can talk to everybody in the room and make sure everyone in the room feels like you respect their position, you respect where they come from, you respect how they feel, and you respect their right to have their opinion. Again, even if you think they are wrong, you must show people that you respect their right to have an opinion. Like, you can say this, and you can say to somebody straight up, look, I don't agree with your opinion, but I respect your right to have that opinion. I respect the fact that you feel that way. I want to try to learn why you feel that way and where you're coming from. And then maybe I'll tell you a little bit about how I feel and where I'm coming from. That person will listen to you. Now, if you go to somebody and say, oh, you think that? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? That's ridiculous. Anybody who thinks that is an idiot, anybody who thinks that is this, and you start rambling off all these negative things that must apply to this person because they have an opinion that's different from you, is that person going to listen to anything you have to say? All right, you know and I know that they're not going to listen to anything. Understand that if you get into the name calling and all these other useless tactics that we see on social media that seem to be, all it does is stir up your base. It stirs up the people who already agree with you, but it does nothing for the people who disagree with you. It does nothing for the people who are in the middle, just observing you, just trying to see what you're about. All right, people only do this when they run out of material. People only go to the tactics of name calling and attacking and what's the other things? They're trying to get the crowd to gang up on a person when they run out of effective communication material. When Drew Brees, for example, came out with his statement and he said, I think it's disrespectful to kneel, it's disrespectful to the flag to kneel. Again, his opinion, his right to have it. A bunch of athletes came out and they just started bashing Drew Brees. I heard Steven Jackson, who's become a leader, de facto leader in this situation because George Floyd was his guy, right? And he had a video where he was basically saying, if you ain't with us, you against us, fuck Drew Brees. He said this all in his exact words on his Instagram. And the thing was, I get where he was coming from. I get that he was upset, but listen, Drew Brees didn't say nothing about George Floyd. He was talking about kneeling during the national anthem. Steven Jackson ain't never kneeled during the national anthem. What you getting upset for? And the other thing is, if you disagree with Drew Brees, look, call Drew Brees. Like, it's 6 degrees of separation. Get on the phone with that man. Or you could even post it on social media and say, look, Drew, I understand what you're saying. I understand your right to feel how you feel, but I don't think you should have said it right now because, and then you make your argument. But if you go at somebody that way, the way that, and Steven Jackson was the only one, I'm just using him as an example. When you go at somebody that way, one of two things is going to happen. Actually, one of three things. Either one, they're going to argue back with you. Two, they're going to just be quiet and never say nothing to or around you ever again because they see how you react, how you pop off because you said something that they didn't like, they said something that you didn't like. Or three, you can bully them into submission. Like, that's what happened to Drew Brees. He got bullied into submission where he had to apologize. Do we think he's changed his mind about kneeling during the national anthem? I don't think so. Do I think maybe he'll do it because all his teammates want to do it at the game this season coming up? Probably. He'll probably do it just because he feels like he has to and because he don't want to get bullied by the social media mob again. But did he actually change his mind about what he said? Because he was talking about his grandfathers and how they fought in the war and how it gives him a great sense of pride to stand and honor the flag. Is he going to change his mind about his grandfathers and honoring the flag because some people on Instagram bullied him and Twitter bullied him? I don't think so. I don't think he changed his mind at all. I think he's going to do what he got to do so he can survive, but I don't think he's changed his mind at all. So if your goal is to effectively cause change, real change, the worst way to do it is to attack other people for feeling however they feel or not feeling how you feel. All right, this us against them. If you're not with us, you against us. All right, that only works if you're Napoleon Bonaparte, Genghis Khan, and you got a big enough army to wipe out all of your opposition. If you ain't doing that, I mean literally wipe them out. If you ain't doing that, you can't do that with people because they still going to be alive and all that energy is going to come back around and you're going to have to deal with that. Don't think that just because you had the upper hand in one situation, you always going to have the upper hand. At some point, you're going to need to call on those same people that you attacked and that energy is going to come back to you one way or another. So be careful with that. This is like in a sales situation. If any of you works as a salesperson or know a salesperson, or actually look at it this way. Any of you ever been in a situation where you're trying to influence or persuade a person in a conversation? You're trying to make a sale and you have been unsuccessful to this point. You haven't been able to convince them and then you run out of things to say. You don't know what else to say. So what do? You start saying the same things over and over again. Eventually the conversation's going in circles and the other person's tired of hearing to you because they're like, yo, you just keep saying the same things over and over again. And the conversation ends and nobody gets what they want. Now, that's what a amateur salesperson does. Let me tell you what a professional salesperson does. Anytime you're trying to convince someone of something or you're trying to change somebody's mind, or you're trying to persuade or influence an audience, you are a salesperson. Like right now, I'm a salesperson. And a professional salesperson has enough different closing tools that even when the first 10 don't work, they have tools number 11, 12, 13 to 20. And if that don't work, they got tools number 21 through 30, 40, 50, 60, and they can just keep going. They have different ways of getting their point across. Amateur salespeople only have one way of getting their point across. Oh, you either on this side or you're not on this side. Oh, you with us or F you, or we're going to attack you, or we're going to destroy you on social media. Those things do not work long term. They work in the short term. They don't work in the long term. And they do not persuade people. You may be able to force a person to agree with you temporarily, but they're not actually changing their mind. You got to make sure you got more bullets in the chamber, so to speak. Point number 3 is what I already talked about. The topic is how to speak when there is no freedom of speech out here in these streets. Do not get personal and start attacking people because they don't agree with you or because they haven't said what you wanted them to say. Again, you can attack a person's ideas. You could even attack their position and where they stand. But when you go at another person personally, you are setting fire to that bridge. You're burning that bridge. You're not going to be able to cross that bridge again. Even if you think you can bully another person, you can think you can shout them down or whatever it is you think that allows you to do that. Again, that energy is going to come back around in different ways that you don't even see coming. The problem with burning bridges is that when you put that energy out, as we all understand the law of karma, right? The energy you put out is the energy that you get back. So you think if you you organize a social media mob to bully somebody to change their opinion, that somehow that energy is going to come back. And I said this yesterday in my live. Right now, a lot of corporations and a lot of white Americans, just keeping it real, are right now in a position where they can't really say anything. They can't really voice any opinion that goes against the zeitgeist. And they got to look like they're going along with what's going on. But I want y'all to understand, they don't all agree with what's going on right now. Even though they might sound like it, even though they might be standing on the side and letting everybody do what they do and say what they say, everybody does not agree with what's going on right now. And here's the thing about it. And some of y'all might say, well, so what if they don't agree? Because right now, the momentum is going in one direction. The game of power always swings. All right, the momentum always changes. All right, the momentum's not always going to go in one way. Y'all watch a basketball game and one team gets like a 15-point lead in the first quarter. We know there will come a point in that game where the other team, they go on a 15-point run and they tie that game up. It always happens. The momentum swings. So if you're in a situation ever in your life where all the momentum is in your favor and things are working in your favor and you're feeling yourself because everything's working, all right, don't get too cocky thinking that it's going to stay like that, because the tide will turn and that momentum will start going in the other direction. And when it does, all that energy that you put out when things are working in your favor and you thought it would never change, all right, now those bills come due. All right, now those invoices are coming and now you got to pay them. And you got to deal with that energy that you put out. So burning bridges is not the kind of energy you want to put out even when you feel like you're on top. All right, be careful, because again, that energy will turn around. Maybe you feel high and mighty in a moment, but I've said many times, life is long, ladies and gentlemen. You know how they say life is short? Life is long, meaning everything that you owe, you're going to pay. Every energy you put out is going to come back and find you. Don't start the name calling or going off topic and doing all these things, because whenever you do that to other people, you are opening the door for that same thing to happen to you. Now, all that being said, when it comes to communicating these days, and you got a point that you want to get across, you also got to be strategic about it. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, right? Sometimes in life when you should say what you got to say, if you can say it the right way, and there are other times when you should keep your opinion to yourself for now. Keep your opinion to yourself until there's some fertile ground to plant that seed, if you understand what I'm saying. You should not just be an open book and just say whatever you think and whatever you feel anytime, all the time, because you're keeping it real, so to speak. All right, keeping it, y'all saw the Dave Chappelle show, right? When keeping it real goes wrong, all right, don't always keep it real. All right, sometimes keeping it real could be the worst thing that you do. All right, you got to be smart. You got to be strategic. And strategy means knowing when to move forward and when to slow down. Sun Tzu in The Art of War said, no, when the enemy advances, we retreat. When the enemy retreats, we advance. When the enemy is at ease, we attack. When the enemy attacks, we are at ease, or they can't find us. When whatever the enemy's doing, we're giving them the opposite of what they want. So that's what being strategic means. It doesn't mean doing the same thing all the time, every time, just because you feel like you're strong enough to do so. All right, that is foolishness. That is idiocy. It does not work long term. It works in the short term. Right now, we're seeing some short-term gains from some people and some groups. But I guarantee you, all right, those invoices got to be paid. All right, don't get cocky. Don't get high on your own supply, like Notorious B.I.G. said. Now, let me recap these points Now I'm going to tell you how you can get these books I got in front of me for free. Then if there are any questions, I'll answer them. The topic is what to do when freedom of speech is not as free as it used to be. We see a lot of people out here these days who can't say what they want to say. They can't do what they want to do. People are starting GoFundMe campaigns to support someone on the conservative side, and GoFundMe is shutting them down. You're not allowed to do that. They're saying that's intolerance or hate speech, which makes no sense whatsoever. They're basically legislating what people can talk about. And this is happening on all platforms, everywhere, with all people, everywhere right now. It ain't going to stay this way, though. And that's why I'm trying to give you these tools to pull some of you all's heads out of the clouds and you think you can just say anything and do anything and nothing's going to happen. Point number one, respect everybody's opinion, especially when you don't agree with their opinion. All right, I could do a whole topic just on this. Do not attack people when they do not agree with you, because that is childish. It is a sign of immaturity. And again, as I keep saying, the energy is going to come back on you. Number two, expand your repertoire. Be able to show people that you both understand what they're saying and you respect the fact that they have something to say that differs from what you say. That is the only way you will ever get someone to listen to you, is if they feel like you have listened to them. If they feel like you're not listening to them, you're just talking at them, they may comply, but that does not mean they actually agree. They will comply for long enough for you to leave them alone. As soon as their tables turn and they got a chance to do the same thing to you, they absolutely will do it. And revenge is a lot sweeter than gratitude, if you understand what I'm saying. Learn how to effectively deal with other people, especially when you disagree with them. You're a salesperson. Every one of us is a salesperson. Salespeople have so many tools for closing the deal that no matter how many times you resist, they got another tool. They can stay calm and relax no matter how many times you push back, because they have another way and another way and another way. Whereas amateur salespeople only have one way of getting what they want, and if you don't go along with that one way, they run out of tools and then they become belligerent. That does not work, again, in the long run. Point number three, do not get personal when it comes to attacking people. You can attack someone's idea, attack their position, even attack their information, but do not attack somebody personally, because people will take that as a personal affront. And if someone attacked you personally, what would you do? All right, that's the same thing other people are going to do to you. Even if they don't have the same personality as you, the same character as you, they are taking offense the same way you're taking offense, but people have different ways of exercising that energy when they feel they've been offended. Some people will do it in subtle ways. Some people will do it in very direct ways. But either way, y'all know the law of karma. Even if you think that person is not a threat to you, the law of karma is a threat to everybody. All right, it knows its way around anywhere you be around. So be careful with the energy that you put out when you feel like you have the momentum on your side, because that momentum will turn, the tide will turn, the tables will turn, and that same energy you put out will start coming back in your direction. And like I said, you're going to have to pay them bills. All that being said, if you got a question on this topic, go ahead and post it in the comments. I'm going to tell you about these books right now real quick. This right here is called The Mirror of Motivation, the Self-Guide, the Self-Discipline. I wrote this book for anyone who wants to step out of the old version of you, step into the new version of you, so that you can start being a person that you truly want to be, even if you haven't been able to get yourself activated, excited, motivated, inspired about your own life up to this point. You don't know how. This book is going to show you how to do it from the inside out, so that you not only will be able to do it now, but you'll be able to do it over and over and over again in your own life. What's even better is this book is free. I've already paid for it. All you got to do is take care of the shipping by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. That's the title of the book, mirrorofmotivation.com. The book's paid for. You take care of the shipping. This right here is called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. I wrote this book for anyone who wants to play professional basketball overseas, get paid to play ball, get paid, your travel is paid for, your housing is paid for, your food is paid for, your whole life is paid for. All you got to do is play basketball, and you get a salary for that. If there's a better job than that in the world, somebody name what that job is. I don't know of one. Even if you've been overlooked, even if you've been underrated, even if you never had any real opportunity in basketball, if you feel like you got the talent to play ball, this book right here will show you how it's done. That's why it's called The Blueprint. You can get this at balloverseas.com. balloverseas.com. The book is already paid for. It's free to you. All you got to do is pay for the shipping. balloverseas.com. When you get it, you also got a chance. I'm giving you an option to get this book right here, The Truth About Overseas Basketball Exposure Camps. These two, you can get them in a bundle. You can get this package together. This is about exposure camp. So if you want to go to an exposure camp this summer, get yourself seen and known in the basketball world, this book will tell you the truth about what goes on at those camps, the truth about who's doing what, why you need to go to certain camps, why to avoid others, what to look for, how to choose the right one, and what to do once you get there. All that said, let me see if we got any questions in the comment section, and I will address them. So I hope everybody's had a good Saturday so far. I hope y'all took some notes on what I was just talking about. Coffee said my Work on Your Game book got delivered. Love the book so far. Shout out to everybody who got that Work on Your Game book. Coffee said, I don't think their rights to seem more like privileges. Right now they feel like privileges, but the First Amendment gives you the freedom of speech. Everybody has the freedom of speech, but right now it ain't really freedom. Because right now you say the wrong thing, you get canceled. Bar says, I started going to the gym today. How do I grow more muscles in the next 2 months? Well, that's a loaded question. That's a very loaded question. I would say hire a personal trainer if you're serious about it. There's nothing I can tell you right here that would be absolute, because it depends on many factors that I don't know about you. So I can't answer that question in any way that would actually make sense for a random person, because I have no idea who you are. Emanuel says, to give us to get like Robert Kiyosaki. What do you mean, Robert Kiyosaki? Like Robert Kiyosaki said? Oh, to give is to get. Okay, yeah. Oh, Robert Kiyosaki actually had a statement. He about to get canceled. He said something the other day that I think it was either today or yesterday. He said something, people trying to cancel him. Funny that you mentioned his name. But I just saw that somebody posted it. I didn't read into it, but I saw it. That he said something that people didn't like. Coffee said, how do you explain qualified immunity? It's very confusing to understand. I've never used that phrase, so I can't explain it. You had to ask whoever you heard say it, ask them to explain it. I can't explain other people's phrases. Now, this book right here is called Work on Your Game. Somebody just told you they got this in the mail. This is a hardcover book. I took the best of my philosophy, condensed it down into 250 pages, put it in this book right here, using the pro athlete mindset to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. I even got my picture in the back of the book right here. This book right here will give you the entire framework, all the strategies that I use to build up my professional athlete career, my career as a professional speaker and brand builder and influencer, and to build the company that I run to this very day. This book right here, and it gives you the frameworks for that. So you don't have to have aspirations of being an athlete or an author or a speaker or run a company. The frameworks in this book will apply to anything you want to do in life. This book is about creating success. That's what this book is about. So go to workonyourgamebook.com. That's where you can order this. And when you order it, while the book is coming in the mail, we're going to give you $1,200 in free digital bonuses that you get immediate access to. So you get the digital bonuses now, and the book's going to come in the mail in a couple days. Workonyourgamebook.com. That's where you order this. Hardcover, 250 pages, workonyourgamebook.com. Someone asked me, a ref made a call to cost us the game, so I took my fury out on the player. No, you probably shouldn't do that. How do you deal with a bad call? Well, go to Work on Your Game University. That's the link right down there, Work on Your Game University. I got master classes on how to deal with other people doing stuff that pisses you off or upsets you in any way. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Workonyourgameuniversity.com. So, all right. I don't think anybody else got a question. So, mirrorofmotivation.com. This book is already paid for. You take care of the shipping. balloverseas.com. Book's paid for. You take care of the shipping. I do these lives every single day. Usually I do them at 5:15 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes I might move the time back. If I do, I'll let you know that I moved the time back. But otherwise, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. Just follow my story on Instagram, and I'll tell y'all what's good. If I'm ever changing the time or I'm pushing it back, y'all know what it is. Work on your game. And oh yeah, Work on Your Game University. You want to get my daily masterclass straight to your phone every single day? I have over 1,500 masterclasses there. Go to that website right now, workonyourgameuniversity.com. See what we have to offer. I guarantee you this is something that you're going to want to be a part of. I'll give you your first 2 weeks completely free of Work on Your Game University. If you want to stay in, you can stay in. If you don't, you can leave. But the first 2 weeks are free no matter what. Work on your game. We out of here. Dre all day.